what is the timeline, from the initial conversations that you had with your leadership team and your manager in terms of, hey, we need to shift our focus, we need to shift our way of thinking about marketing, and then to the present, what was that timeline, and how long did it take from those initial conversations to really change the gears internally with your marketing team and your sales team?
Sure. So thinking back, probably began this journey around the beginning of 2020, where
Okay.
of course we were gung ho on a lot of new marketing strategies that immediately got tossed out the window. But for us, it was, I'd say part of me, I think, coming in having a fresh perspective is I didn't necessarily care about how we had done things in the past. I mean, I did. I wanted to learn that, but I wasn't committed to any way of the past. So it was listening like crazy to podcasts, reading information, talking to other people about how they did things. I'd say probably the first 6 months of 2020, was focused on rephrasing and refocusing on that demand capture. So, how can we cast as wide of a net as possible? What even opportunity do we have to be successful in this bucket, or do we need to start spending time and energy on other areas of the demand creation? So, probably about the first 6 months, just figuring things out as I began to plan for 2021. I think was probably the first time that I took that full holistic approach to the pipeline funnel. It was my first time as a marketing leader creating our budget and projections for the year. And so for me, the analytical side was going to break it down pipeline, the total pipeline step by step. And for me, it made budgeting incredibly easy. I knew exactly what our metrics were. So I knew that if I had $200,000 or $500,000 or $1 million, what I generally could expect from a revenue standpoint if I hit those metrics. So right about that time, of say fall of 2020, having that information armed, began to have those conversations internally. I'd say the switch of kind of MQLs to SQLs and focusing on revenue happened almost immediately because I had those conversations right away. But it took me probably about another 6 months to figure out how do I then go about the ultimate approach of not just focusing on marketing sourced or marketing assisted or AE sourced or referral to just inbound versus outbound. And I didn't go into this earlier, but I think it makes sense right now. One of the reasons or one of the ways that I did that I think was successful is I didn't focus it on finding a way for marketing to get credit. I focused on finding ways for marketing to give credit to other people. So, perfect example is, I mean, everybody's going to have, hopefully, is going to have referrals that come in from customers. Well, if they come in and request a demo on your website, maybe you find out later that they were technically a referral. Technically, in some worlds, that's going to be a marketing sourced opportunity or a marketing sourced revenue. Well, like maybe I did something on customer, but I didn't really do anything. It was none of our campaigns that generated. It was our customer success team. So instead of worrying about whether I got credit for that, I just said, look, this is an example of how we're getting credit for something that probably isn't directly applied to us. Why don't we shift that to inbound versus outbound so that by doing this, like the customer success team doesn't think that we're taking credit for it. The sales team doesn't think we're taking credit for something different. We can all be on the same page about thinking about the buyer journey. Are they coming to us versus are we going to them? And not first on who's getting credit for what.